Now we have the latest information, including a ruling from the LA District Attorney that could see the Menendez brothers released after more than 34 years in prison. Joining us for exclusive reaction are their family members, Karen Vandermolen, Tamara Goodell, Eric Vandermolen, and Natasha Leonardo. Thank you for joining us this morning. Karen, let's start with you. You've been advocating for this moment for a long time. How does it feel to finally have this day come? Karen replied, "It's beyond words, absolutely thrilling. We have waited 35 years for someone to step forward with the courage we have seen in the last few days. We remain hopeful that Eric and Lyle will be home soon. Ideally, it would be wonderful if they could be with us for Thanksgiving, as it is a busy time with 3 birthdays. We're ready to share the love we've been saving all these years. The progress is amazing, and DA's courage in making this decision cannot be overstated." Turning to Eric, "Do you forgive them for what has happened?" Eric replied, "Yes, but for me it's less about forgiveness and more about understanding. Watching the portrayal in the media over the last 30-plus years has been very difficult, especially since I was young back then. They've been vilified through recent series on Netflix and elsewhere, and it's hard. But now more and more people are starting to understand the impact of childhood trauma and the seriousness of abuse cases, so we're finally attracting more public attention, and that's really important." Natasha, with the allegations of abuse and the public prosecutor's belief that Lyle and Eric were abused, despite the debate in his office, what are your thoughts? Natasha shares, "I never doubted Lyle and Eric for a second. The new evidence has only strengthened our conviction. We've supported them from the beginning, and there's no doubt about it. It's time for them to go home." Karen, I know you've spoken to Lyle and Eric recently. How are they feeling? Karen replied, "Lyle and Eric are very optimistic. It's been 35 years, so we know it's best not to get our hopes up to avoid disappointment. They do wish things could go faster, but in the end, I'm sure they'll be home soon so we can hug them. That's all they want." Turning to Tamara, the prosecutor mentioned that recent media attention played a role in her decision. What is it about this new generation that has sparked interest in the case? Tamara explains, "This generation saw the recent documentary with a more compassionate understanding. They realize that abuse is not limited by gender and see the harsh punishments meted out in the 90s as unfair, heavily influenced by a society that does not understand male victimization. With this perspective, the current generation is challenging what happened, recognizing that after almost 35 years, Eric and Lyle have served their time and should be allowed to return home. Their advocacy is partly inspired by our grandmother's lifelong fight for them, and with access to information, they are pushing for justice with empathy for what Eric and Lyle went through."